Imagine being slammed face down into your own grass, cold zip ties slicing your wrists, while your 10-year-old daughter presses her little face to the window screaming "Daddy," like the sky was falling. Red and blue lights painted the perfect suburban street like some sick carnival, and there she stood, Regina Voss, Evergreen Meadows HOA president, arms folded, that Botox-tight smile glowing under the porch light as she told the cops I was a dangerous trespasser who refused to leave. "He doesn't belong here," she said in that honey-dripped voice that somehow made her sound like she was saving the neighborhood from a plague. My daughter Lily dropped her stuffed bunny. I heard the soft thud through the glass. That sound hurt worse than the knee grinding into my spine. I'd lived on these 22 acres longer than any of these cookie-cutter McMansions had existed. My grandfather bought the land right after Korea and swore no one would ever move his family off it. My wife Sarah and I raised Lily here before cancer took her in 9 brutal months. We paid every medical bill, kept the old white farmhouse with its squeaky porch swing and the wildflower patch Lily planted for her mom. Then the developers ringed us with Evergreen Meadows like we were a weed in their flawless lawn. Legally, our deed predated every covenant they wrote. I had the county stamps to prove it. But Regina Voss didn't care about law. She cared about power, and I was the ugly exception ruining her perfect beige empire. 6 months earlier, life had been the kind of quiet only grieving people understand. Heavy, fragile, but ours. I ran a one-man carpentry business from the barn, dropped Lily at school, made sure she still smiled sometimes. The old place sat right in the middle of their new subdivision, legally exempt. I never joined their HOA. Never signed a thing. But Regina rolled up in her white Range Rover one sunny Saturday, like she owned the oxygen. Clipboard in hand like a sheriff's badge, yoga pants and oversized sunglasses. She didn't even say hello. She just stared at my work truck and the tractor behind the fence. "Mr. Brooks, this aesthetic is not in line with community standards. That vehicle is an eyesore. Those flowers? Completely unapproved color palette." I wiped grease off my hands and pulled the laminated deed from my back pocket, the one I'd started carrying the day the first moving truck arrived. "This land isn't part of your HOA, Ms. Voss. County verified exemption. We're good." She didn't even look at the paper. Just tilted her head with that pity smile rich women perfect in mirror practice. "Bless your heart, everything inside the gates falls under our visual guidelines. No exceptions. We'll send a courtesy notice." Lily peeked from behind my leg, curious. Regina didn't acknowledge her existence. She just clicked her pen once, smiled tighter, and drove off. That was the spark. The next morning, a bright orange violation sticker screamed across my truck windshield. "Unapproved vehicle. Curb appeal violation." I laughed out loud at the absurdity. Lily didn't. She stood on the porch in her pajamas, clutching her bunny, and whispered, "Did we do something bad, Daddy?" I peeled the sticker off, glue stretching like spider webs, and told her some grown-ups are just scared of anything that doesn't match their Pinterest board. Inside, I was already taking photos. Time-stamped. Dated. Because quiet men learn patience the hard way. The harassment came in polite little waves designed to break you slowly. Anonymous letters taped to the door complained about visible farm equipment destroying harmony. They dumped bags of fast food trash and dog waste at our gate overnight. Lily saw it first and asked if the wind did it. I lied and said yes while I cleaned it up before she could read the labels. Then the neighborhood Facebook group lit up. The squatter in the center is refusing to comply, lowering all our property values. Regina's comment was pinned at the top. The board is addressing this disruptive element for the good of our community. They weren't even pretending anymore. Kids at the bus stop started whispering. One mom yanked her son away when we walked past like we carried the plague. Lily came home one afternoon and asked quietly, "Why don't they want us here?" I told her some people fear what they can't control. But every night after she was asleep, I sat at the kitchen table adding screenshots to the folder labeled evidence. I wasn't angry yet. I was calculating. It crossed into evil the Saturday Lily wanted to swing at the community playground 20 yards from our fence line. I could see her from the porch, laughing for the first time in weeks. Then a board member, a tall guy with a golf visor, stormed over. "You don't belong here, kid. This is for residents only." Lily froze mid-swing, lip trembling. He loomed over her like she was trash on his perfect grass. I was through the gate in seconds. She has every right to play here, I said, voice low. He smirked. HOA rules. Take your little squatter family and go. Lily ran to me crying. That night she asked to sleep in my room because she was scared they'd come take her away. The next morning my phone rang. Child Protective Services. Anonymous report. Unsafe living conditions, neglect, possible emotional abuse. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. They'd weaponized the system against my daughter. I looked at Lily sleeping with her bunny tucked under her arm and felt something inside me click into place like a loaded gun. I stopped hoping they'd get bored. I started digging. The county recorder's office smelled like old paper and coffee. I spent 3 afternoons there after Lily was in school, tracing parcel maps until my eyes burned. On the newer subdivision plats, the walking path, the playground, even the decorative entrance sign sat a few feet over my boundary line. Not by accident. Someone had quietly redrawn the lines and approved them. Then I found the developer's default notice. Massive lien still attached to all common areas because the builder went bankrupt before paying off the land loan. The HOA had been strutting around on borrowed ground for 2 years, collecting dues like they owned the dirt under their overpriced fountains. I called my old Army buddy Mark, now a paralegal. He whistled low when I explained. You could buy that lien, Nate. Become the successor landholder. The whole HOA would technically be renting from you. It took every penny I had, college fund, emergency savings, the last of Sarah's life insurance. I wired it at 2 a.m. while Lily slept. The county stamped the assignment 3 days later. Quietly. No press. No drama. Just my name now printed where the bankrupt developer used to be. I owned every sidewalk, every road, every blade of manicured grass they'd been policing like it was their religion. I didn't tell anyone. I just waited. Regina smelled blood in the water and called an emergency HOA meeting the next week. Email blast. Critical threat to our property values. Hostile outside party attempting takeover. Cars packed the street. I watched from my porch, grilling hot dogs for Lily like nothing was happening. Inside the clubhouse, Regina stood at the podium in a white pantsuit, voice trembling with righteous fury. An individual is trying to seize control of our beautiful community. We need a special assessment, $3,000 each, to fight this legal terrorism. Gasps. Shouting. Someone yelled, "Who is it?" Regina pointed vaguely in my direction. The squatter who refuses to follow simple rules. He's endangering all of us. That's when the anonymous folder hit the group chat. Bank statements showing Regina's landscaping company had been paid HOA dues for premium services that were just her cousin mowing lawns at double rate. Screenshots of her using association credit cards for personal spa days. The room turned on her like sharks smelling chum. "You stole our money while lecturing us about standards?" An older woman screamed. Regina's smile cracked. Those are lies spread by the same person attacking our homes. But the cracks were widening. People weren't afraid of me anymore. They were furious at her. The county auction room smelled like desperation and cheap cologne. News vans lined the street because the HOA meltdown had gone viral. Regina arrived like she was walking onto a throne. White suit, fresh blowout, lawyer trailing like a lapdog. She spotted me in the third row and hissed as she passed, "You still don't belong here." I didn't answer. She no longer deserved my words. The auctioneer cleared his throat. Transfer of encumbered development rights for Evergreen Meadows common areas. Minimum bid equals outstanding lien of $284,000. Regina stood first, folder thick as a phone book. "The HOA is prepared to protect our residents." Polite applause. Then I walked up, placed my single folder on the table. The auctioneer flipped pages, saw the county stamps, the assignment, my name. He nodded once. Bidder qualified. Regina's head snapped toward me. "That's impossible, he can't." "Credit bid accepted," the auctioneer said calmly. "Lien holder has priority." The room exploded. Regina's face went the color of old milk. "He's trying to destroy us. This is theft." But the auctioneer tapped his gavel. "Any competing bid with verified funds." Her lawyer fumbled papers. Homeowners stood up waving printed bylaws. "She can't spend association money without a vote. You lied about the finances. You used our dues for your kitchen remodel." Regina's voice cracked into a whimper. "I built this community, you can't do this to me," The gavel cracked. Sold to the lien holder. I stepped to the microphone, voice steady. I now own every inch of common land your HOA has been standing on while you called me a trespasser. Every road. Every playground. Every blade of grass you find people over. You called the cops on your own landlord. The silence was so complete, I heard someone's phone drop. Regina's knees buckled. She actually had to grab the podium. For the first time in her life, the Queen of Beige had nothing left to say. 3 weeks later, the HOA board was dissolved. No more fines for mailbox color. No more clipboard tyrants. We formed a voluntary neighborhood group where the only rule was talk to your neighbor before you talk to a lawyer. People started bringing cookies again, real ones this time. One guy who'd once called me the squatter apologized with a six-pack and actual tears. The best day came when Lily and I planted more wildflowers in Sarah's garden. Kids from the neighborhood ran over with plastic shovels. Parents brought lemonade. No one checked grass height. Lily looked up at me, dirt on her cheeks, and asked, "We get to stay forever now, right?" I kissed the top of her head. "Yeah, baby. Forever." 3 months later, the air in Evergreen Meadows finally felt like home instead of a museum. Lily laughs loud again. Neighbors wave without checking if my truck matches the approved color palette. And every time I see Regina Voss driving past in her Range Rover, now noticeably dusty, I just smile and wave. She never waves back. Some people can't handle the view when the power flips. So here's the question that keeps me up at night. When the HOA Karen weaponized police, CPS, and an entire neighborhood against a grieving dad and his little girl who was really trespassing on whose life? Was it me for refusing to bow to their rules, or her for thinking a clipboard gave her the right to destroy a family? Drop your answer below. I'm reading every single one. And if you've ever been on the wrong side of an HOA Karen, tell me your story. There are more of us than they think. See you in the next one.